What's up, everybody? Fear in here, and today we have a siege versus OneX and also a Chinese guild that I'm not familiar with the name. But we're gonna go right into our first attack here versus a Vigor Kinky Lulu, a Kinky variant that we've seen a lot of, but is kind of phasing out a little bit in favor of Harmonia over the Lulu. But we're taking in here Hraesvelg, Triana, and a Cha-Cha. So we have Cha-Cha for the Dark Tank, Hraesvelg for just a wind damage dealer, and a damage Triana here for a little bit of death prevention and extra healing and support as well. One thing that I just like to call on this offense is that the attack buff from Hraesvelg, and you can see here I just chunk this Lulu. He does so much damage, but you want to make sure that you're only using his skill 3, especially in the beginning when you have the immunity from the Triana up. The way that this can fail is you get revenged by the Kinky, you get a defense break on the Hraesvelg, and all of a sudden the AI for the Kinky changes, and you end up losing your Hraesvelg, and you can lose this attack that way. So typically I would go for the Vigor first, but the Lulu procced out of immunity, and we were able to just basically one-shot it. Again, that's what Hraesvelg brings to this team versus the other wind damage dealers. He's not quite as tanky as bringing, say, like a Fuko, and doesn't have quite as much utility as like the Logan with the pushback and the extra defense break. But again, he just does a lot of damage. So we were able to take out both the two water supports. We cleansed the Cha-Cha here. And then again, Hraesvelg just does so much damage with that attack buff. He doesn't even proc the Revenge and the Kinky, and we're able to finish this off for our first attack. Next, we're going to go into a Sylvia, Theo, Iris. I'm just going to take a Mirror and Illusion in here. There's some slight amount of risk here in case the Sylvia is swift, but we have a pretty fast Mirror. We're able to buff our Lucian, and I think we ran plus light here to make sure that we were killing the Iris because we didn't want to see a Revenge here and a heal. And Theo only procs once. We don't get the proc back into the Endure, so we get a pretty clean cleave for our second attack here. Next, we're going to go into this Carcano, Miles, Triana. I took in this Leo Diana Jean team. I think I was rushing this a little bit. I don't love this team. It works most of the time, but there is a chance that the Carcano switches AI onto the Diana, and I'm not running heavy minus fire on that Diana since she's the primary damage dealer, and the shields from the Diana don't offer that much value here. But we're able to hit the Miles for most of his HP in this first rotation, take him pretty low with that Leo hit, and then we're just going to go straight through the Triana passive here and take out this first monster. Some small risk there that Diana gets targeted by the Triana and gets slept and then killed by the Carcano. Again, it's stuff like that that make this a little more sus, and I probably could have also just not transformed on the Diana that turn, but we're going to take out the Triana next, again just cycling through damage with this Diana, and we should have a pretty clean cleanup here. Again, we can, for the most part, keep the Carcano controlled and focused on the Jean. Both Jean and Leo in this comp have heavy minus fire. You can see here we get a big crit from the Carcano proc into a proc from the Triana as well, and he just barely lives. I think if he had died here, we still potentially could have been okay. But again, something that could bring a little bit more damage or a little bit more safety here would be pretty good. And again, we're not going to shield here to try and protect the Leo. The Carcano is going to hit through it. We're just going to actually send it into this Carcano here. Their attack bars are pretty low, so as long as I get one crit, I'll cycle here. Maybe a little bit of a YOLO play, but able to finish off this Carcano here. And I think this was a pretty full damage Carcano since my Leo got pretty chunked by that one crit. And go into our, I think, third win. We saw a little bit of this Carcano Vigor Triana, which is a little bit of an old meta. So we're going to take our Tractor Winnie Lulu, our trusted team here. We had actually noticed it was a pretty high damage Triana. One of my guildmates had lost into this. So just worried about actually taking out that Triana pretty quickly. We're still going to kill the Carcano. I think this whole team was just pretty full damage. And I think also the Carcano was not on Violent, but on Triple Revenge. You can see here, I attack with the Lulu, get revenged. So a little bit worried on that because, again, with the damage taken from the Revenges and the damage taken from the Triana, we get countered again. There's a chance that we get that defense break onto the Lulu, and then a big crit from the Triana. So just looking to make sure we're protecting ourselves. But we skill 2 the Lulu here to get that immunity and get back to full health. And then just going to continue focusing down this Carcano. Pretty standard stuff. I think you all have probably seen this a lot before. But again, I think the only thing to call out is that looking for builds, looking to understand what could potentially change to make this a little bit more variant, right? And the high damage Triana, the revenge on the Carcano, and also looking for where Destroy might be coming from. The Carcano was not on Destroy, I noticed. I think that the Vigor and the Triana are both on Destroy here, since you can see there's some Destroy on the Tractor and a fair amount on a Lulu as well. And like I said here, we're going to go into this Triana second, since we noticed that it was on a pretty high damage build. I think also, as I'm kind of looking back at this, I could have also just focused the Triana first. I think that the Windy dying without the defense break is pretty low chance of happening. And I think that the main risk here is that we get a defense break from either the Vigor or the Carcano onto the Lulu and then dies from the Triana and the Vigor. But by killing the Carcano first, we still have that risk from the Vigor. So yeah, I think if I hit this defense again, I would probably kill that Triana first. But I think we're going to go ahead and just kind of fast forward through the rest of this, since, again, we've seen this a million times and it's a little slow to play out. We're going to take a Poseidon Cleave into this Carcano Wusa Savannah. I love when this happened. The Wusa goes in front of the Triana, gets that cooldown, and I'm able to strip it all right away. We miss the defense break on the Savannah, but luckily we land all 3 of our pushbacks here. And I love this Triana buff. We see 40k from the Triana onto the Wusa, easily taking that out. And then 3 versus 1, we're going to be able to clean up this Savannah and get our next win here. Nice and clean. We saw another kind of older meta 4-star defense here with the Cocky Vigor Triana. So I took in a Chloe Water Twins here. A lot of these Chloe teams you see on a Swift Chloe because of her high base, but we just took in a Violent one here since there's nothing that we really think is going to be that fast, and we were on Will. For all these units, it's not like a fast Vigor is going to mess us up. And we're hitting into a pretty tanky Vigor. We're killing the Vigor first because my biggest worry is that a defense break from the Vigor onto one of the Water Twins and then a damaged Triana is going to kill me. So just making sure we get that down before the immunity ends. We're taking a ton of damage from this Cocky, and we already procced the Triana passive. So I think we're going to go ahead and just take out this Cocky, and then the next auto attack will take out the Vigor as well. And now we just have our 3v1 versus the Triana. So old stuff, but still able to pull out these old counters and see this work pretty well. Next, we took a little bit of a risk here in this cleave. Pontos AI is pretty smart, and usually will skill 3 do the buff first. I don't really expect the Odin to be tuned to the speed buff, just because if he's outspeeding me, then this Vigor and this Pontos are pretty fast. We do cut in, we're able to strip everything and cleave this down. But in retrospect, I really should have put Will on this Triana. All it would have taken is either a proc from the Pontos, or it just skill 2ing instead of skill 3ing. And getting a silence off and not being able to strip the anti-crit, not being able to strip the invulnerability. Well, maybe I could have relied on the CP, but that's not really a high win rate play. But we're able to clean this up. But again, a lot of risk because Ponto skill 2 could have really messed with you there. But there we go, 7 wins in a row. We have another one of these bigger Kinky Lulus. This time we take in a Logan variant of the Cha-Cha team. I hadn't actually done very much of this yet. I see a lot of other players do it. I don't 100% love Logan here. I think other people do it with just a little different builds on some of these maybe, but we have the all the multi-hits from him make it really hard to not proc the Kinky passive, and I think adds a little bit of risk here. I think typically I see more of the Fuko here with the shield on himself making it a little bit safer, as well as not being at as much risk to dying from the Kinky later on. But we go into this Lulu first again because it doesn't have any of the buffs. We get a proc back into our skill 2, and this is just crazy. This Logan only procced once in there, but I love how all of his skills chain together, and he just takes out that Lulu in one turn from full health. Next, we're going to focus this Vigor, but we're pretty safe from here. Again, get the skill 3 into the pushback, skill 2 into the defense break that gets resisted, but we get a proc, we're able to finish that off, and another proc, and we're able to go into this Kinky, and we shouldn't get soloed here, but just it was interesting piloting this for the first time in a real siege, where there was some just like worry that with the multi-hits from the Logan, if the Logan procced enough, maybe I just procced into my own death, and this goes a little bit astray. But as you can see, we're able to just push through on the damage and finish off this Kinky for our next win. We're going to go ahead into this Sierra Rauk Cadiz in the LD tower, and we're going to take a Garo, Draco, and Rocky. The idea here is we have big plus dark on the Rocky. We're just going to snipe this Cadiz and then sit behind our immunity and kill off the Rauk and the Sierra. We actually still have some plus wind on the Garo because we're not worried about getting this kill on the Cadiz since we have the big plus dark on the Rocky, and so we're just making sure that we're able to kill this Sierra pretty quickly afterwards. And then 3v1, we're able to clean up this Rauk and get our 9th win here. For our last attack of the day, we're going to take in our Fang Tessa Lulu into a Carcano, Molly, and Savannah. Again, just the defense lead from the Carcano, from the Fang makes so we don't get defense broken here. This Molly goes quite a few number of times, but we're able to get up our immunity. We're going to go ahead and take out this Carcano first. I don't run big minus fire on the Fang, and I want to just get the consistent defense break out of the picture. We get a nice proc on the Tessa and just kill that Carcano pretty quickly. Next, we're going to go ahead and focus this Savannah, but at this point, we took out the main defense breaker. We get another proc on the Tessa and are able to just take out the Savannah without going through the human form. And now 3v1, we have double destroy as well as defense break and oblivion for this Molly, and we'll be able to wrap up our 10 wins in a row for this attack. And here was the map at the end of the siege. We took first by a pretty healthy margin. I thought it was a really cool opportunity to go ahead and practice some of these 4-star offenses that I don't run as much anymore, as well as into some of these Kinkies, which I think I need to hit a lot more than I do today. But overall, again, fun siege. Thanks everyone for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.